What's up, math fans? In this video I want to do long division with polynomials, and it's basically the same exact procedure as it was back in third grade when you did regular long division. So in order to do long division you have to have gone to first and second grade where you practiced multiplying and subtracting. So in this procedure you're going to see you're going to need to divide, multiply, and subtract all in one process. And it seems complicated, but it's actually steps that you've already been doing for years, just in a new way. All right. In fact, recently we did long division. If you saw my video on powers of I, when I talked about powers of I and how they behaved, if I wanted to simplify I to the 47, well, it behaves similarly to this pattern that you learned where we had I to the 0, then I to the first, then I to the second, then I to the third, and then every 4 it would repeat again. Once I got to I to the 4th, it would repeat again. So if it repeats every 4 times, I took my exponent 47 and I divided it by 4, and I asked you to look for the remainder. In order to find the remainder, you have to know long division. So let's see, 4 goes into 4 once. Now, what I'm doing is the procedure for long division, so pay attention to my procedure. What did I first do? I did my first term here divided by my term out there. So 4 divided by 4. So the first thing I did was divide, and here's my procedure, divide, right? Put my quotient up here. Then I take the quotient, multiply by this 4 outside, the divisor. 1 times 4, put that 4 right here. So I multiply. That's my next step, to multiply. And then my next step, my third step, is to subtract. So now I'm going to subtract 4 minus 4. And that's 0. Some people put the 0, some people don't, whatever. And then I drop down my 7. And what happens when I drop down the 7, I repeat the original process. So you could say divide, multiply, subtract, repeat. So I'm going to repeat, meaning I'm starting over from the beginning. So now that I have a 7, and I'm going to take this term, divide again by that 4. So divide, I get 1, take the 1 times 4, so I multiply, put the 4 here, then I subtract, step 3, and 7 minus 4 is 3. This number is now my remainder. Do you know what to do with the remainder? Keep this in mind. You take the 3 and you put it over that divisor, the 4. And your answer is 11 3/4. Okay? I'm going to use that same exact process. By the way, if you're curious, the power of I. So if my remainder is 3, I to the 47 is the same as I to the 3rd. But that's just old stuff. Alright, so now I'm going to take the division process and I'm going to apply it to polynomials. So if you see polynomial divided by polynomial, you can rewrite it kind of like this. And you might be saying, oh, but Professor Noy, this is easy. I can just factor this. And if you factor this numerator, you'll get x minus 8, and x plus 3. And you know x minus 8 is a factor, so you know it'll cancel with the common factor, and you know your answer is x plus 3. That's great, but just in case you don't know it, if it's not obvious, if it's not easy to factor, or you need a remainder, we're going to go with long division. So I'm going to write it instead as x squared minus 5x minus 24 divided by x minus 8. Notice numerator goes inside, denominator goes outside. That's your divisor, okay? Same procedure, first term divided by first term. And that will be enough to get me a quotient, an accurate, correct quotient. So x squared divided by x. That's what you're doing in your head. You're doing x squared divided by x. If you learned anything about division, hopefully you've seen my video where I explained to subtract the exponents. So that's x. There's a 1 here, right? 2 minus 1 is 1. Don't have to write the 1. So that's just x. Now what's the next step? Multiply. X times x is x squared. But what you didn't do in third grade that you have to do now is you're actually distributing x times the x and x times that negative 8. So that becomes negative 8x. All right? So this times both terms. Now, the next step is to subtract. And be careful when you're subtracting. X squared minus x squared, that's easy. It cancels, and it better cancel, otherwise we messed up. Then I'm doing negative 5x minus negative 8x. So if you're not sure how to subtract, go to the calculator, type in negative 5 minus negative 8. Or if you do know how to subtract, you'll remember to keep change. So this is really negative 5 plus positive 8x, which gives you positive 3x. And then I'll drop down the minus 24. Now I can repeat the whole procedure. First term divided by first term. This is my 3x divided by x. So you're doing 3x divided by x. And again, you should be doing this piece in your head, but it helps to write it on the side. So remember, this gave me x, and I put that x up there. This one, the x's cancel out, gives me just 3, positive 3, and that plus 3 goes again up there. Now, multiply again. So again, I'm distributing, this time the 3 times the x and the 3 times the negative 8. That gives you 3x minus 24. And if you subtract, 3x minus 3x is nothing. Better be nothing or else you made a mistake. And negative 24 minus negative 24 becomes negative 24 plus 24, which is also nothing, no remainder, and your answer is x plus 3, which I know you knew already, but I'm showing you a different way to look at it, because something as complicated as this, maybe you can't factor and you have to do it long division way. So let's do it. Of course, pause, try it on your own, and then watch me. So, step 1, first term, divide by first term. This is the first term here. This is the first term here. Make sure the question is in standard form. If they mix it up, you have to rewrite it so that the highest power goes first. I did that for you. Also, when you're subtracting, make sure your like terms are lined up. I did that for you. Sometimes the like terms won't line up and you will have to rearrange it yourself. Or there won't be like terms and then you can't subtract, you just drop down everything. You can't combine if they're not like terms. That's why it's called combining like terms, not combining unlike terms. All right, first term divided by first term. 6 divided by 3 is 2. X to the third divided by x is x squared. Remember that? Divide the coefficients, subtract the exponents. All right, now I'm going to multiply 2x squared times 3x is 6x to the third. 2x times the 4, right? Don't forget you're distributing here, this and this. So that'll give me positive 8x squared. Good thing I got my like terms lined up, so I'm going to subtract. That cancels, or else I made a mistake. Negative 13 minus 8 gives me negative 5x squared, and I'll drop everything else down. All right? So now again, first term divided by first term. Somewhere I made a mistake. So let's see where my mistake was. 6. The reason I know I made a mistake is because 5 is not divisible by 3. So there's got to be an issue here somewhere. And I don't want to pause that tape. So if you see it, you find it. Aha! I found my mistake. I hope you found it too. 13 minus 8. See, I told you you got to be careful with subtraction. Is not 5. It's actually, negative 21. Negative 21. Got to be very careful. Negative 13 minus 8 is negative 21 because they're both negative. So you actually add the numbers. Ooh, close one. All right. So, again, first term divided by first term, negative 21 divided by 3 is negative 7. X squared divided by x is just x. Negative 7x times 3x is negative 21x squared. Negative 7x times 4 is negative 28x. And again, I subtract. Let's be careful. Negative 21 minus negative 21, that'll be 0, that'll cancel. Negative 4 minus negative 28. Keep change. This becomes a positive 28. So now I get a positive 24x, and then the plus 35 drops down. Okay? Start over. First term divided by first term. So basically it's just repetitive. It's not hard, it's just tedious. 24 divided by 3 is positive 8. X divided by x will cancel, so no more x term here. 8 times 3x is 24x. 8 times 4 is 32. And last time I'm going to subtract, that'll cancel. Better, or I made a mistake. 35 minus 32 is 3. And there's my remainder. Now I have a remainder. How do you write your remainder? If it's positive, you can put a plus here. Plus 3 over whatever this divisor was, 3x plus 4. And you are done. Thanks for watching. See ya.